Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, your typical bull here, and today we are going to be talking about volume and
Huh?
specifically how it can affect and help you in your trading, your day
Okay.
trading specifically, swing trading as well. We'll do a little bit about swing trading. So really, volume down here, volume bars is a aspect that a lot of people just ignore, really, and it is important, and volume can telegraph some pretty interesting things when you are trading. Um, so let's just get right into it. But before we do, please do remember to click the like, subscribe, and comment on the video. Your support really helps the channel
Please
to grow, and it
subscribe,
is very
guys.
much appreciated. So we are looking at the same chart from our video from yesterday, the S&P 500 or SPY. If you missed that video, there will be a pop-up up here somewhere coming in, I don't know, right about maybe now. So if you missed that, be sure to go watch that so that you know where all these zones and things are actually coming from. So all right, let's get into it. Volume. Basically, number of shares traded. Pretty simple concept, right? But volume can telegraph a lot of important things. Obviously, 8:30, you're going to have a pretty significant volume spike, right? But as the day progresses, we are currently looking at a 1-minute chart. We could see these volume bars aren't consistently the same all the time. Some of them are small, some of them are big, some of them are green, some of them are red, and this can be added confirmation for your trades, right? So let's just go right in through here and go over some volume and what that can tell us just about what's going on here. So in the context of the current price chart, right? So let's just scroll through this chart one candle at a time, and then we'll just go over some stuff, right? So right now, opening volume spike, we don't have much anything going on here. But if you notice this volume candle here, it's the first green candle of the day, right? So, but it's not a very significant volume increase. And then following that, you have on this bullish bar, you have sort of a tapering down of volume. And then this next bullish bar is much significantly smaller than this. And you see this little average line here, that's just the average volume of the ticker for the normal time, right? This is much lower than average, right? On this next green bar. So, and then if you couple this with your previous price action, right, you can see here in this area specifically that you have some pretty strong price projections, right? And then on this red bar that does break the VWAP, you get an increase in volume, and in this following bar, the volume also increases. And then on these pullbacks, as it starts to try and show some bullish momentum again, you are still seeing this steady decline in volume, and then the red candles are much larger volume. And then the one green candle here, you see how much smaller the volume bar is on that green candle? That can telegraph sometimes that this move is about to fail, right? So you get this quick little pop-up, and then this volume picks up again as this tapers back down. This can create you a low-risk trade. So on this start of this rejection, as that volume bar picks up, or even after that candle closes, you can get a trade here from this location with the stop directly above, either this little wick here or VWAP, right? And then you can use this to create a low risk trade from this location down to your next little pivot, which actually happens to be a gap fill here from the pre-market. It's a perfect gap fill too. So that creates a trade with a risk of 431 to 431.60, 60 cents, and a reward of 431 to 429.27, reward of 80 cents, 90 cents, somewhere in there, right? And then as this reversal happens, we continue scrolling through this volume, and we can see on this candle here, this volume is significantly higher. And then again, the pullback candle has much lower volume, and then this consecutive green candle, you get another large volume bar. And then during this whole little pullback here, volume sort of tapers down again. And then right towards the end of this, you get this large volume spike again. And then again, from this location, you get a steady tapering up of volume. And then at its very peak, you get this large volume bar, right? The very peak oftentimes you'll see a significant volume increase, and then the pattern will start reversing, and then volume tapers down and tapers down and tapers down again, right? And here, this is a situation where volume won't really do anything for you as far as reversals, right? But in the context of things, you see you have traded down, you are at this significant level, right? This is a significant pivot here. If you see it from last time, this is a very significant pivot that we just created, and then you get this huge volume bar, and then that pivot fails. That can tell you that we are going to move lower a bit, right? And then we come down a bit farther and we start consolidating here sideways. And what we end up getting in this situation specifically, right, is a red bar here with large volume, a green bar here with large volume, and then we taper down, taper down, taper down. We are not making any significant headway. Volume's tapering, volume's tapering, volume's tapering, still tapering. We're still consolidating here sideways. And then towards the end of that consolidation on this breakout, volume picks up again, but we don't make any significant price movement, right? So we're just, and this is around lunchtime as well. So what time is that? At 10:30-ish. We're still consolidating, and we're not seeing much in the way of any kind of significant volume increasing here, but we are holding these levels. So we get a quick little pop up there on strong volume, right? You have two very light volume bars, and then this is kind of telegraphed here as well on this candle. What you get is a quick pop in volume, two sideways candles with small volume, and then a little breakout candle where volume picks up again, but that move does fail, unfortunately. So that is the name of the game sometimes, really. But down here in our demand zone, where we drew from our last video, again, if you missed that, go back to the card there and watch that video. But from our demand zone here, we see we've sold off into this demand level, and volume is quite low at this level, but then on the breakout point of like the actual confirmation of the move here from this, we pop above this recent pivot, and then there's a large volume spike, and then again we see another large volume spike towards sort of the end of that little pop, right? And then we retest these levels again, and what we get is not quite follow through as far as the volume goes. And then on this second test, right, see how this one doesn't follow through? It's because there's no volume behind this move, really. The sellers take up all of the progress the buyers make with equal and better volume, right? See, this is the breakout candle initially, and then you get the volume here on the seller side that is larger, so this move doesn't follow through because the volume is still with the sellers. And then as we continue on, we test this level again. Notice the difference here in this volume. The whole time this is moving up, this volume is steady increasing here, right? And then we start consolidating a little, volume dies down, and then on the reversal it peaks again, right? So the volume is peaked again sort of here at this reversal candle. And then as that move confirms, larger volume, and then you get a huge candle and we sell down again a little bit. Boom, right there. See, we've got this huge volume candle and we sell down a bit, but it doesn't quite follow through there either as well. So what we get is this quick little pullback pop down on huge volume. So that tells you that buyers are willing to step in here and buy up. As this continues higher after this, buyers are willing to step in, because down here at the bottom you see we start popping, our volume starts increasing and steady increasing again, and our red candle is much smaller in volume, and then the bulls take over and we start increasing again, and then after that we start seeing a series of these red volume candles, but it's still pretty well an average volume level, so we get quite, just this sideways action again. Volume's tapering down. Then you see this candle here. It's a large green candle actually, but in the context of things, we have rejected this location a couple of times here, and this technically is right here a bearish candle, right? So what we get is this little pop back down here to VWAP off of that. So when this VWAP is respected in the context as we taper up on volume again, it tells us that this trend will likely continue. And then when we finally do make a significant reversal here, we get stronger volume bars on our red candles right here. See, this is where we sell off from this large point here. This volume candle right here signifies sort of huge bearish red candle, large volume bar. This move follows through, and then again when we break down, large volume bars, and then we come back up and retest sort of this intraday demand level here, right? And then as we retest that again, you see volume is stepping up at these important levels for the sellers as they step back in to retake control. These two bars here, these two very, very large red candles that confirm the continued move lower here, are on very significant volume. And then again, there's another large volume candle right here. And if you're paying attention, this coincides with this breakdown from this important level that is the VWAP, right? So huge volume candle, and then as we break down, that volume increases again, right? And you see here's another bearish candle underneath a VWAP with large volume, so we move down significantly lower. And then what happens again when we start consolidating is that volume picks up again here on these bullish candles as we continue, as the bulls try to take back over sort of this price action, right? And then sort of on this reversal candle here, which happens to kind of be like a little double bottom pattern here, right? This little pop, bullish engulfing candle, volume starts to taper back up, and then as you break VWAP again, you get a series of significantly larger volume bars. But this move again doesn't follow through because, well, it just doesn't follow through in this case. There's really no volume reason for that. But right here at the bottom again of this sell-off, what we get is another large volume bar. Boom, boom, pops up, and then there's a huge green volume bar on about half of the volume of that large red bar. And then we pop up again towards the end of the day on increasing heavy volume. So just be aware that a lot of times volume will telegraph moves. It's not all the time. Sometimes volume just spikes just because a big order gets filled. But you'll learn to kind of recognize when volume is important. And generally volume is quite important at significant levels, right? If you get a large volume spike at a significant level, it can telegraph the start of a large move. Volume can telegraph the start of a trend ending as well, right? So let's just take a look at a daily chart here of Intel and just see how many of these moves, these big moves, start with big volume. This is obviously earnings day, so volume is going to be big, right? But let's see. Right here at the very top of this, before this huge gap down, huge volume. Of course, another earnings play, right? But then, let's see here. Big volume here, higher than average volume, sort of at this double bottom point here at the start of this little mini rally. Another earnings play, so we'll ignore that. Again here, huge volume coming in as we make this pullback that fails, of course, and then notice here we're trading kind of sideways. We're just chilling. No, price isn't really doing anything. Not much happening. And then you get this huge volume spike on this breakout here of this previous level. And then we retest again here. And look what happens on the retest. If you're paying attention, volume broke out, tapered down to almost nothing, and then it peaks again here at this retest level. And then the day after earnings here, of course, you have a huge volume spike, but that is sort of another little volume telegraph there, right? So down here at the sort of ending part of this trend, we're tapering up in volume. We're tapering up in volume. Volume peaks here, sort of around this level, and then starts to taper back the other way as that trend reverses again. Earnings, going to be huge volume around earnings. Um, here's a very large volume bar that doesn't quite do anything, right? But if you do, I guess, argue that from that candle there, you're getting a push down to this support level, and then as this support level holds even on that strong selling pressure, I guess you could argue that you could take a long trade to this previous market structure here, which would have actually worked out, but I wouldn't have taken that trade. But, you know, just in the spirit of education, let's just talk about some things as we notice them, right? Another case here of a double bottom that gives you a rally on strong volume. See, volume is kind of tapering, then you get this spike here at this support level, and then it goes back to normalized again. That's basically signifying that there are some buyers at this level, and you get, again, a move pretty well to this market structure here is where that I would be looking and interested. Carrying on, then right here towards the end of this, like you have this huge red candle day, right? The volume is extremely large, right? And then again, sort of at this little support here, you get a huge influx of volume again, which kind of signifies that buyers are willing to step in and buy up this dip, right? So volumes, these small candles, which to be kind of expected that volume tapers down, and then you get, again, like buyers step up and just pick this price up and pick it up and pick it up, and then again, boom, earnings, big volume, no big deal there. So yeah, here's another kind of significant little moment we can talk about. This huge gap fill, very bearish candle in the context of the market of a gap fill here, and this huge bearish rejection. You can use this volume to sort of telegraph a move back down to some of this structure here, and then again, look where this trend reverses at what the volume is doing. You have some very large peak volume days, and then you sort of break this little mini area of consolidation here, and as you break down, that volume is sort of at its peak again, and then it starts to taper down until earnings as you sell back off into this structure again. And then again, in this more recent price action, right, huge bearish volume days right here, and then volume tapers down as sellers sort of kind of disappear from the market, and then on this very large green candle you have this huge volume bar here, and then that move kind of starts to continue higher, right, into again this market structure here as we retest those levels. So anyway, I do hope this kind of helps you start to think about volume in a different way maybe, and start actually noticing some patterns in volume as well that you can use in your own trading. So remember to like, subscribe, and comment, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.